Hey everyone, it's your local Baron, Gildem here. Very friendly local Baron, I must say. Just got done with the Teapot and Mukluk podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it as you watch it in a bit. And just one thing before we start, leave your comments, opinions, thoughts, everything about the discussion. Start our own discussion in the video down in the comments below. If you have actually any feedback on the podcast itself, like production wise, things that I can improve on, just maybe roast me, tell me like, you need to improve on this, you don't do a good job here, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, before you start, there's one more thing to add. We're going to be giving away let's swap the scene. We're going to be giving away a legendary bolt just for this podcast, a nice giveaway. All you got to do is like and comment your account ID in the video below. Of course, to leave your opinions and thoughts and everything, and don't just put your account ID. I would appreciate, some actual discussion in the comments. Anyway, that's all you got to do. I will announce the winner around July 8th, I guess. So you have until July 8th, about a week more or less. But that's really it. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and I will see you when I see you guys. All right, we got Teapot, we got Mukluk, we got a man named Red, Gildem. We're here to discuss some big pointers in a way, and discuss more or less the state of the game, and hopefully maybe learn something from this podcast. And let's get to it, right? So the first things first is we got DrizzleWood Coast. I want to start with DrizzleWood Coast is because this was more or less the map that just came out. There was a lot of hype about this map, and I watched both Mukluk and your stream Teapot when this map came out, and you guys both had actually like quite a difference of opinions. Like I know Teapot, you kind of said things like the map was not very rewarding in any aspect. Besides the actual rewards, you felt like the map was a little too easy in a way, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm a gameplay guy. When it comes to gold, I've played this game for way too long, so I don't really need gold at all. I play the game for fun, and I was very disappointed because when I saw the concept for the map, right, this world versus world style encounter, very push and pull, I was very excited actually. I thought, wow, this could be a really cool experience, fighting against the NPCs, like, sieging down towers by that and defeating powerful hordes of enemies. And it really didn't deliver on that, in my opinion, right? Like, I didn't really feel like I was ever fighting a massive horde. And I just didn't feel engaged. Right? It was just too easy. Like, there was no challenge whatsoever in the map. We were able to do it first try while basically AFK, and a lot of people were accusing me of having like a full try-hard squad, but that actually didn't happen because I overslept that day, so I couldn't actually get my full elitist squad in there, unfortunately. So yeah, that was where it was disappointing for me though. Like in terms of the rewards, though, I think it's fine, right? And I think we'll get into that in a little bit, right? It's good to have good gold farms in the game, like to keep the price of materials low so things don't get out of control, especially when the player base is perhaps not what it once was as well, which can affect the prices of things as they go. But yeah, the big disappointment there was from a gameplay perspective. I did find the map very disappointing, actually. I was excited, and I felt let down by the lack of challenging content in the map.
Fair enough. What about you, Muck?
Definitely my opinion kind of half overlaps with his. When I saw the concept, I for a minute I thought it was actual player versus player, but then quickly learned that it was not, and then we went in it, and then it was like if World v World had an easy mode, like we blasted through it so fast. And at first I was a little overwhelmed because like I've got these homing beacons and signal flares, and suddenly I've got a new type of catapult taking up my inventory, and I'm like, what do I do with all this stuff? And then once we figured it out, it was just like you're talking about you had a squad that you went there with. Like I went there just alone, and we blasted through the whole thing and just finished the whole thing in one go. And I was basically like me with 39 pugs, and it's just like, oh, okay. I will say that I didn't know about the value of DrizzleWood Coast until you told me, because I don't math that stuff out or pay much attention to that. But the first time I got those crates where it's like gives you 100 random dust, 100 random blood, stuff like that, I perked up. I was like, ooh, this is nice.
Yeah, it is good fun. Red actually, in a couple of people did some calculations. This was the first week though. First week, second week, when the map obviously had uh more activity and before the obvious drop in prices of materials. What was like the gold per hour? Was it 40 gold, 50 gold first week?
Oh yeah, we were like easy 50 gold, 60 gold, just because of how spiked everything was. That's the same time that the new amalgamated gemstones came out, and those things went up in price. But at the same time, you could farm them from this map. So people were farming that one trait line, that one bloodline, and they were getting charged lodestones that were up in price. So the profit was amazing the first week. Afterwards, yeah, it dwindled off. Like there's a sharp decline right after.
Yeah, it's kind of expected like a map that drops more or less everything in the game. It drops leather, it drops ore, it drops T5, T6, loads and everything. Um, for me personally, I think the map in a way could have had the potential like they missed kind of the mark on the map in a way of like making it like something like Silver Wastes or Dragonfall, a map where like people continuously always are in there. And I think it's just because the way the meta was done, it feels like it's all over the place. Even though you could actually get this map done on your own without even a commander really. Commander obviously makes things faster. But I think it was kind of just maybe missing the mark on making this one of those maps that stand out. Like, yeah, this would be a map to keep people in.
Well, I think that you're going to see this map played for a long time because it is quite a low effort and high profit map, right? I don't think that there's necessarily a problem with that. And when it comes to like the kind of the chaotic nature of it, I almost feel like that's intentional to a certain extent. Like it feels like that's the intended way the map is supposed to be played out, right? Like it is this battlefield, right? That you can just kind of go and perform a whole bunch of activities on in a wide variety of areas, and it's kind of okay for you to do that, right? So I think that's kind of by design the way the map plays out. And in terms of like the whole gold per hour thing, I mean, yeah, there's always going to be like a really big spike and a really big fluctuation, but I think it's actually, in a way, kind of it's important that that new farms keep coming out and keep providing different ways of obtaining materials into the game. I think that's kind of a good thing because you don't want the community to get stuck right on one farm forever, right? I mean, we've kind of seen this with Silver Waste to a certain extent, right? Like, I mean, how long has that been going on, right? So I think it's good to bring new farms and new ways of earning gold into Guild Wars 2, right, through new maps. I don't necessarily think that that's like a terrible thing. And even like the spike at the start, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that you're going to have some kind of spike like this, right, in some way, right? Like it's when you've got a completely new type of map, like the rewards are kind of I suppose they are unique in a way, right? There's no map that really rewards you like this outside of DrizzleWood. So I think it's expected and pretty okay as well, right? Like inevitable with the approach that Arenanet took with the reward structure on the map, right? There was always going to be this kind of shock to the system as the rewards started coming through on launch of the map.
Okay, well, going on the rewards actually, when the map came out, we actually had a couple speculations, and then the one that we actually stuck with the most was because when this map came out, we were like, this has to be nerfed within a week or two. Just the amount of materials it drops, there was no way this map wouldn't be nerfed.
It was given above, if anything.
Yeah, it was actually given. The only thing they've nerfed was the karma. Initially, you could sell the contracts for karma. You could actually sell them on the trading post if you don't want to consume them. So they nerfed that. So that killed obviously that market. But
Now, if I can, let me ask you a question on behalf of people that haven't been here forever. Like I myself have been actively playing the game like 14 months now. Do they have a history of nerfing zones soon after they release them where they've gone too far?
yes, they've nerfed. For example, they've nerfed Silver Waste. Let's go back to Silver Waste. They've nerfed Silver Waste within its first 2 weeks. Silver Waste.
And it's still fantastic.
It's still fantastic because the way Silver Waste is run, and even though it's not an efficient farm as it used to be, the way that made Silver Waste unique is that your pace in the map, you could actually get it. You can control the pace of the map of every meta, every chest farm. You could, a good map would get a chest farm, the bosses, the forts, all of that done at the same time, and a good commander would be able to control the pace of that map. That's why that map was great, is that the pace of it can be controlled in any way you want it to, and then you could efficiently farm it as much as you wanted to. So that's one of the reasons why it's kept that map alive, even after they've, you know, nerfed it. People have insisted it's a dead map and whatnot. The other maps that they've nerfed Arg Basin. If anyone remembers the AB multi-map meta, where you, I think Teapot would remember this.
Oh yeah.
You go into AB, you loot the chests, you swap to another meta, loot the chests, another IP, loot the chests,
Oh,
and you could get a lot of Ectos because of this. So, and then after a
I
while,
totally tried that in the last year when I discovered AB, you know, personally for the first time. I was like, I wonder if I could swap maps to loot these boxes again, but it didn't work. I didn't realize it ever did.
yeah, no, they got it nerfed. So that's like 2 maps, and then if you count Istan, like Red mentioned, Istan was very famous for more or less dropping a big amount of T5, T6 materials to the point where the nerf was honestly needed for the map, because it got them down to such a low price. It would, you know, your actual time in the map did not make sense anymore. So yeah, there is a track record of nerfing maps, and for good reasons. Some of them honestly have been for good reasons. What I didn't expect to happen for this one is, the speculation is, I think Anet was in a way preparing this in a way for people to get the materials that they needed, either for armor, either for legendary weapons, whatever else they might be trying to work towards. And I think the speculation was more in line with like that the armor would be ready within like the next 2 months or something, like August maybe, or you know, they made it seem from their announcement that the Armory update was due to come out in a couple of months. So that was the speculation behind that.
Yeah, and I think the question you've got to ask yourself is that necessarily a bad thing? Is it bad that Arenanet want to increase the accessibility of legendary tier gear and legendary tier utility to the general player base? And I think that I would actually probably argue no. I think that's actually a good thing. Because I mean, if you think about like how long it takes like an average player to get a legendary weapon, it's a big investment for a you know, casual normal player just playing open world content to get a legendary weapon. It takes about 2,000 gold, so, you know, that kind of area, right? That's a lot of gold if your gold farm is like 25, 30 gold an hour, right? That's going to take you a very long time to actually be able to obtain that item, right? So, you know, if we see a bit of an effort from Arenanet to make that a little bit easier, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Maybe even the opposite.
Yeah. What about I think I can agree with that. Like, it definitely is a change, because this new Anet we've seen so far has been very different from what we've seen, you could say, in the last year. Not talking too much into detail on the actual Icebrood saga, whether it's people think it's the same living story that we're getting in a different way or not. I mean, they are trying a couple more different things than they have before, and what I want to see with this map especially is how it ties into the second half of the map. We know that there's supposed to be almost equally as large or maybe half as large of a map left for this, right? Where if you look at like the end of the bridge where you fight the meta, there's supposed to be the ice part. So we're more or less, the second half of the map is probably going to take place towards, you know, the snow and everything. So is that map going to have its own meta? And is that map going to, you know, is it going to be in the same zone, but that map completely reacts differently than this map? In a way, is it going to be, in a way, connected in some way?
I would assume it's going to be like Biora.
Biora, in a way where like it's zones, but like each zone is independent from each other.
Yeah, well, it's got like a east meta and a west meta for Biora marches now. Like, yeah, they're connected, but for most intents and purposes, you could think of them like 2 separate zones.
Yeah, they just don't have a loading screen.
Right.
I don't know about all that. I mean, you kind of have to finish the meta to even be able to cross the bridge in order to get to that part of the map. The only way to do that is to actually complete the entire meta, and then you're able to access that part of the map. Like, are they going to let us then do a second part of the meta? Right now, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to finish the entire meta from start to finish, right? And this is going fast. If you're going at a normal pace, I'd say an hour 30. Will people be enticed to stay an extra possible hour to 2 hours for a second half of a meta? Because if they kind of like cut it off and they make it so, oh hey, don't worry about the rest of the map being contested, you can just waypoint or airdrop to the frosty part, even though we can't cross the bridge. Like obviously I'm talking more of like thematics of the map and, you know, making it more flow, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, like I feel like we're definitely gonna have to, it's gonna be elongated, right? If it's gonna be elongated, it's gonna take a lot longer in time and there's gonna be more effort. Will people want to put that type of effort in? And will the loot and stuff that you get from it be rewarding enough to keep people there? Like as Teapot said, you're not getting a lot of engagement, to be honest. You're the hero that's jumping from point A to B back and forth, helping out, doing your part to push it a little bit. But if you're not there, you could just, you know, farm the supply bowls and still do good and still get gold if you want to. So it's like, will they give us something something more substantial, like a good boss fight, like some good bosses, maybe multiple of them? I don't know. Something like that, I think, would have to be done. If not, this map is fun. I like it. I just see it getting boring if they just add kind of like a, oh hey, you fought this, you know, the normal guys. Now they're gonna be the same guys, just a little frosty.
Yeah.
Would you
Well, I
prefer
mean,
to have a new world boss like Drakkar or something?
I think that's almost more likely. I think you're going to end up seeing that the maps are quite joined. Now, I have to, unfortunately, I think it's very unlikely we get like this meta map where you have the two maps literally joined, where you have to beat one to do the other because of the way the living story works, right? You kind of have to own you have to own that episode, right? So it's kind of weird. What do you do if you don't have the first episode, right? What are you going to do there? So they're kind of limited in their design space there, unfortunately, with what they can do, I think. However, I think that would be really super cool, and I think they will try and escalate, right? We're going to be going into this different terrain area, right? Like a very different environment, using this more corrupted, we kind of saw that teased in the story, right? With the strike mission, and also with the story where you fight this legion, the Frost Legion, right? The brand new legion that has now been formed because of Jormag's corruption, right? So I think we are going to see some escalating stuff there, and perhaps some more boss focused stuff there as well. I think this one was definitely made to feel like a very kind of down to earth, on the ground. You are a soldier, right? You're a soldier in this map. I think you'll go back to maybe doing some more traditional hero stuff, maybe in the subsequent episodes.
That could be yeah, I think it also comes down to is that if they want the new map to be treated as a separate zone, even though they're in the same, let's assume they're the same map, but like Mug said, like it's a different zone in a way where it has its own independent meta. I mean, they could simply counter that with like a nice waypoint to solve the issue, right? So it doesn't really, like, I don't see them like not adding a waypoint to that map at least. If it's gonna be as big as this one, they might need at least one waypoint, because I can't imagine people running from the start of this map to get all the way to the end of this map.
And that little cool airdrop thing.
Oh yeah, they could do the airdrop thing maybe even. But yeah, that's the part where it's interesting. It's either they take it that direction or they treat it as independent from each other. That's gonna be. And then again, it goes back to how Arenanet times events, right? They usually time all their metas and everything, so that's what's gonna come into play with it. But overall, to end on the topic, at least on DrizzleWood Coast, what in terms of because we can pretty much agree on the rewards are amazing for this map, right? It's worth being on this map compared to a lot of other maps that are in Guild Wars 2, right? For the most part.
For the viewers that might watch this on any of our channels in the future that aren't like barons of overflow, do you want to give the general public like some numbers? Like, how does this map compare to like Silver Waste or Dragonfall, which were the most popular spots before?
Okay, we can give an overview. So peak for this map was obviously during about 50 gold in the first 2 weeks. That significantly has dropped. I would say this map right now is giving about a 30-ish gold per hour, which is not too bad, but it's pretty decent. It's in the middle for like a map meta. 30 gold per hour is okay for farming. Dragonfall slightly tops this still for about up to 40 gold, because Dragonfall, there is the whole idea that you're actually able to generate more ectos in that map from the unit gears and everything, or unidentified gears for those that don't know the term. Comparing it to Silver Waste, I'd say this map is worth being more on Silver Waste. However, an organized Silver Waste might be worth your while than this map, because if there's nobody doing anything on this map, like I'm on an empty map right now. There's nobody commanding it. There's nobody really leading events. The map is actually almost finished, or somewhat finished. And there's not much events that we can push out. So like, this map in some way does need some sort of mini organization to get it started. So, Silver Waste does as well, but Silver Waste always runs itself in a way, because people already have been accustomed to it. They already understand that this is what you got to do to move the map. So I'd say it falls in line just below Dragonfall. That's my take on it.
I think that's okay. If you have a lot of these maps kind of around the same area, that's where you want the maps to be, right? You want everything to be balanced, so you don't have one map that's just way out ahead of all the others, right? It's a good place for it to be, I think.
Yeah,
I like having options, because then you can do the one that you consider fun.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
this map in itself does give you some options too. You can switch between which legion that you're getting the accommodation points for. So you're getting different loot if you need it. Maybe you need some more wood or some other stuff. You can always just change your accommodations. You get rewards out of it. The one big thing I think that should be focused about this map is you are getting laurel. You are getting clovers. So Mystic Clovers you can only get by rolling in the forge with Spirit Shards, Mystic Coins, Ectos. And you can also get them via fractals, if I'm not mistaken.
2 per day from a fractal merchant, or PvP or World v World reward tracks, or every 28 days login reward.
Yeah, so if you're not doing PvP or World v World, because there are plenty of players that don't want to even touch those type of contents, and you're just doing PvE content, this is kind of like your fix. You want some Mystic Clovers, you don't want to do any player-to-player engagement, this is it. It's not the most brain-dead content, you will have to do something, but you kind of just run around, push some stuff, make sure the thing gets to the end, and almost like Silver Waste, you just pop the chest at the end. It's pretty easy, actually.
I think the one thing I like about this map is the fact that it actually tells you what events are going to be up. Like, it pins every event that's up in the map. So you could pick the events that you want to go to. And I think that's like helpful compared to other map metas where some people usually, especially like a newer player, wouldn't know where to go in a way.
This is very new player friendly. It pretty much like handholds you through the entire map. Someone that just picked up the game, has Path of Fire, and logged on during this time, has probably one of the easiest farmings that they can do in the entire game, aside from Silver Waste.
Yeah, and I think this is something that you can kind of see creep into a lot of Arenanet's game design. They really like stuff to be new player friendly, right? I think their core audience and the players they're targeting are people who don't play the game right now. And I mean, that kind of hurts. Kind of hurts for me, right? You know, I've been playing the game for a long time, and they're essentially not developing content for me, even though I've been here for ages. That sucks from my perspective. But I can understand why they would do this. Guild Wars 2 is an old game, and they need to drive engagement with players who aren't as invested and who haven't played the game before. And when you have this MMORPG that has such a big history to it, right? You want to have these ways where a new player can kind of get their foot in the door, right? And I guess there's just not enough time for the old dogs around these places, which is a bit unfortunate. But hey, that's how it goes.
I feel like it is kind of true. Like, well, no, not kind of. I don't want to say 100% true because maybe the wrong person might be watching this, but ain't it? Don't take this the wrong way. But I think it's just the fact that this game is always focused on the casual aspect, and of course that's the main audience, right? Any game focuses on the main audience, but usually, a lot of those casuals do end up becoming veterans at some point in the game, right? You're not going to be a casual for a long time unless that's how you intend to play, right? There are casuals who become veteran.
I think Guild Wars. No, I don't agree with that at all. Actually, I think most people who play Guild Wars 2 don't. They stay casual, right? And that's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not toxic. I
I
think
say
people should play their game how they want to, right? They should enjoy the game however they see fit. But no, I would definitely say that yeah, Guild Wars 2 is a game where you stay casual. And you keep playing. I don't
there's
think
some crossovers, obviously. Someone that might actually start committing. I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect it's a big number of people that go
Like
from
Guild MM.
casual. Guild MM? Did you call me casual?
Guild of them a hardcore gamer.
Yes.
Soon, TM.
Maybe.
I think my first thought was Sim Souls, master of the GG.
GGing every raid, huh?
Every raid, every fractal. Anytime
But I mean,
Mesmer noise, he's gone.
I feel like the next part of the map, again going back to that, they have to kind of up the ante there. They have to make it a little more difficult. Give us some more. We're going into Bangar and Jormag's territory, right? The big dogs of this whole saga, right? We're going to their house. They best have some type of defense. You can't just walk through their house and be like, all right, we own this. No. There has to be some push. The push and pull. All right, we push them. I want to see them do something to push us back now. Like, I really want them to kind of be like, okay, you guys had fun in the first half of the map. Everybody can go in. Everybody can do this nice, easy stuff. But guess what? Now you're like in Antarctic, you're constantly losing health. You have to do all these little things in order to maintain yourself alive. There's like big bosses throughout that are going to make it harder and harder for you. And at the end, when they all die, like this one big like epic boss comes out and he can actually wipe an entire map.
They
Like,
won't do that.
I know they won't do that. No, Tifa, I know, trust me. Like, I'm saying these things, and I'm like, all right, I'm thinking about a different game here. But
Red's like the guy that goes into Dark Souls naked and just like kicks open the boss's door and is like, get out here and kick my.
bro, I played one boss in Dark Souls, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need this in my life.
No, I don't need to relive those memories on this, but
But in Guild Wars, I would love to do that.
I think they never have the intention of, allowing people to fail in the map here. In raids, it's different because raids, there's mechanics, there's things, there's rotations, a lot of factors which allows the failure to happen. And same with, you could say PvP, where more or less, I mean, that's competitive gameplay. But in map metas, I've noticed they've never allowed the map to fail on purpose or given the chance to give us such a challenging map where possibly it will fail unless it's a very what's it called? Maybe it's an outnumbered map in a way. But for the most part, I've never seen them try that. They always want you to succeed.
The vets of Guild Wars 1, like season 1, that marionette, the twisted marionette boss in I forgot what map it was. Lorna's Pass, I think it was.
Lorna's Pass, yeah.
That was a fun map. Oh my god. Again, nostalgia, rose tinted glasses, but something that could give us like, oh, world's first boss kill, and like actually be after a week or two, maybe. It's not gonna be a week or two. I know. Again, talking nonsense here, but it'd be nice, man. It'd be nice to go back.
It would be. That would be a marvelous thing.
I would love for something like that, but yeah, it's not happening. Overall, though, like to wrap it up on this map, because in a way I've seen it start to die off, like, and not in a way where it's like, oh, it's just because like no one's doing much anymore or stuff like that, but you go back, for example, to Silver Waste, and there's still people that do Silver Waste on a daily basis and things like that religiously, and it's not as active as it used to be, but those maps, Dragonfall, those two have really took over. This map still needs potential. I'm sure it still maybe requires another 2 months before someone could say it's a dead map. But like, you know, you could already see that like there's only maybe one IP or two IPs throughout the day now. Like I'm noticing there's a decrease from 4 or 5 to like 1, 2 now. And that's not good for a map that just came out either.
Well, I think this is a kind of a pattern of behavior, and I'm conscious that we want to move on here, so we can segue into something else after this.
Yeah.
But this is a pattern of behavior I think you see in Guild Wars 2 in general, right? I think you see this very up and down pattern in the way people play content, and Arenanet kind of dug their own grave on this, in my opinion, with the way they design their content, right? They design their content to essentially be very story driven, very single player focused, and you know, you beat it and then it's done. Right, and that's exactly what's happened in every single map, and it will always be this way while they release this content, because Arenanet don't typically focus on replayability as one of their design pillars. They just go, okay, we're going to make a really polished, single-player, soloable, story-driven experience, and then we do that every 3 months. So, you know, Guild Wars 2 kind of ends up being more of like a TV show, right, than an actual MMORPG, which, in my opinion, I don't like that, right? Obviously, Arenanet does like that. But yeah, so I think it's inevitable that these maps go up and down, because not only is the content designed that way, the community is also conditioned that way as well, to always be looking to move on to the next map, the next piece of content, the next set of achievements, right? The next story episode to experience, right? That's just the way people approach this game, because this is how it's always been for a very long time, and it's what Arenanet encourages in their player base.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a good segue into the state of the game kind of discussion. Maybe we could go a little bit into that before the Armory. Speaking on that, like, do you think this? I mean, because I agree with you, it does feel like they really do love this model TV show of a way. Would you think like some of these maps would have been just better used if they added? Because once there's achievements for the maps, it's usually only in line with that certain update it came out in, right? There's achievements for it when the update comes out. And like you said, once there's a new update that comes out, the previous map doesn't really have any update to it. It's just another map with another set of achievements. Wouldn't it have been better if they, you know, sometimes did not release a map and then just made the update in the same existing map, right? They didn't have to add a new map every single living episode. They could have maybe just added more things to do in the previous map. Kind of like how they did with like a bit of Dry Top and Silver Waste. They kind of had that bit of an experiment with that before they kind of, you know, decided to go with the whole Living World Season 3 model of adding maps as they go.
I think if they were to do something like that, they would have to implement phasing the way that World of Warcraft does it. Because you'd have like using your example, new player comes to DrizzleWood Coast, they've never been there before, they're seeing the start of the DrizzleWood Coast campaign. But then a player that's further along in the story would be in the same zone, but they would not be able to see those new players. They would be seeing the zone looking different because they're further along chronologically. And that'd be possible, but it's not something... off the top of my head, I can't think of any instances of phasing in this game where they would do that.
No.
No, because the map comes out usually in line with the story itself. So the map is adjusted to the living story. And yeah, like if they added the second story to it and the map changed in a way, then that would make sense. But they don't do. That's kind of, I think, one of the issues is they try to keep each map in its own, you could say, bubble in a way, where like it's part of a bigger story, but it's still, at the end of the day, that map it's a bubble at the end of it. It's you know, there's nothing changing in that map that's besides its meta that's, you know, continuous whenever it comes up.
Yeah, this is one of the things they've stated, right? Every map in Guild Wars 2 is in its own slice of time, and just stays like that forever, which is interesting.
I would wonder why they didn't go with the whole, you know, like I know they don't want to do the. Initially, they tried with Living Season 1. If you guys remember with Living World Season 1, there was the whole actual change in the maps, right? Like Twisted Marionette, like Red brought up, like actually made a change in the map. What's it called?
Battle of Lion's Arch.
Battle of Lion's Arch actually destroyed Lion's Arch, things of that nature. So like, I don't know why they didn't maybe try it. I know it's a difficult model to add because more or less you'd have players that will always be behind, and this was more or less trying to keep players. You have to be there to always experience it, otherwise you missed the whole thing when it was live. But I'm wondering, they could still incorporate it in a way like Muck said, like phasing, where people see a certain map before they've done the content versus people who've done the content. You know,
I'll say that would probably be a major undertaking for Arenanet to do that. So I wouldn't see it happening. Like, could it be done? Absolutely. Do I think that's likely? No.
Arenanet is not going to change their model, and the reason is because, yeah, as you said, they did start off with the Living Story Season 1 model, but it turns out they weren't able to maintain that, and all the devs were just, you know, dying while trying to maintain that. So yeah, and it's going to be like this forever. Like this is going to be my you know my Doomer take on Guild Wars 2. This is it, guys. This is how the game is going to be until the expansion at the minimum, and probably after it as well. Like what you see here with Arenanet's development cycle in the Icebreed Saga and with the expansion pack is peak Guild Wars 2, right? It is not going to get better or worse than this, in my opinion. And I'm not, you know, I haven't said what I think of that yet, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But in my opinion, like this is going to be a pretty static development cycle, basically for the duration of the game, like for however long that is, probably like 5 to 10 years, potentially.
Teapot dangling the carrot in front of us. I gotta wait for it.
wait, you
I
said
mean-
5 to 10 years? Wait, I thought we'd have Guild Wars 3 by then.
Oh man,
Well, that's why I said 5 to 10, right? Like it depends.
Guild Wars 3 MOBA.
Oh boy.
The
Well,
release date for Guild Wars 3 is right after Half-Life 3, guys.
I think we might be talking a little bit too soon too. Like, how many episodes do we have so far in Icebreed Saga? We have like, I forgot what they were talking about, but I remember them saying somewhere, and maybe I was dreaming, but I remember them saying that they were going to go back to previous maps, to things in the past. And I swear to God, if that was like visions of the past, I'm done. But they said that they were going to go back and do things in maps that we have already been in. That could be Quarteria, that could be other maps that are tied to it. They added Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns to the same game. You buy the box, you get both. So you could technically go back to any of those maps now with this story. Are they going to do that? Are they going to have the players do that? I really don't know. They are a little friendly with that, so I don't know if they'll make someone go back to like Tangled Depth, because you need to do the entire story to get there technically. But we could see them maybe going back into at least Quarteria maps that aren't terribly difficult to get into in the first place.
The thing is about Icebreed Saga, and this kind of falls more in line with state of the game, is it's just not very different from the other living worlds. It's the same thing. They just named it a saga, and the saga is more or less just a chapter of adventures, right? So I would expect at the minimum that this one be a longer season than the previous ones, just based on the way that they called it a saga. You know, maybe fall in line with that, right? You know.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Like, I think they just said that just to hype people, and there's some good evidence for that, because they even referred to it in the Gem Store as Living Story Season 5. Right? They have called it interchangeably with Icebreed Saga and Living Story Season 5, and I don't think they're necessarily going to really do that, because look what the story's progressed, right? We're about to kind of get to work on the big bad, right? And we're 3 episodes in, and we're already about to have maybe a confrontation with Jormag, or at least one of the main antagonists, Bangar, and his corrupted legion of Frostchar, right? So I would be surprised if we had more than 6 episodes. And again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You know, I've been enjoying the story. The story content quality, in my opinion, is very solid. But I don't think it's going to be any longer than normal, or any even particularly different, right? It's just a much more refined version of the Living Story that we've seen before, a bit more polished, right? A little bit, fresh lick of paint over the old system.
I'm still hoping Bram gets corrupted by Jormag and we get to kill
I want to kill at least one of our party, right? One way or another. It's very important.
It's not going to be a main character. I'm seeing Krisha going down, to be honest.
Honestly, maybe Bram, it's his time to go. He just complains. I don't. Yeah, I
Dude, he
mean,
has a higher body count than half of the villains in this game, of like our allies.
I mean, wait, he can't be killed. Remember, he's the chosen one. In Jorah March's second half, that was explained that he's like the chosen one to take down Jormag, and we could have a whole like Cormyr thing where like back in Guild Wars 1, Cormyr took the essence of Abaddon, and again I'm going way back, but maybe Bram could be the new, I don't know, crossbreed Elder Dragon. We don't know. That could be one way to get him out, but I highly doubt that.
my man's not about to take credit for my commander, who basically does everything in this game, and everyone else takes credit for in the
Chahern
story.
2.0.
Like, anyway, but yeah, like going back to it, like, yeah, Teapot, you said one thing that's correct. Like, their story's on point. I don't have any problems with their storytelling. It's really well, but like you said, it's a TV show, and then making you wait that 3 months. I know the story is worth it. I would say the story is worth the wait. I enjoy the story when I play the game,
wants partner.
but gotta give some positive points a little bit, but
Seriously.
but like it is wait, like, and I think a lot of the newer casual players are okay with it. They don't mind it because they're still doing stuff anyway. They still have to work on their armor, ascended. For some people, they're still working on ascended. A lot of other things, like they're very new to the game versus veteran players who are, once you're done with the story within the first 2 days, achievements and everything, you're done. They usually tell me, or any one of your friends probably who's a veteran player will tell you, I'll see you in 3 months or something. It's always a meme that comes up with a lot of those players. And I know it doesn't cater to them anyway, but that's kind of the problem, is that like it's just very small content in little bits and pieces. Like maybe if they structured it in a different way, I think it's consistent. 3 months, 2 months, and I think we've been getting it in 2 months for this season has been good. Like it's been consistent, but it's still very short bits of things that people just, the map is empty after a week, 2 weeks. It's not really, people are already back to like either AFKing or doing something else, or for some people they just wait till the next update. And I think they could really capitalize on those people that wait between an update, have more things to do in a way. And maybe adding something else to the previous map. Go back to the previous map, there's an achievement for something. Just kind of integrate the maps, don't make them feel like their own bubbles.
Well, this is the problem with the type of content that Arenet's developed. They develop content that is based off narrative and story instead of actual gameplay engagement, which kind of what goes back to my original point about DrizzleWood Coast, right? The map is very visually impressive, right? It's a very cool idea, right? Like this idea of these two factions warring and battling, and you capture the map. It's a very cool idea, but there's no gameplay to back that up. It is very much a TV show. Like your gameplay is irrelevant, right? I could disable all of my abilities, unequip all of my weapons, and I could still enjoy the map in basically the same way as if I was actually like full tryharding, right? And I think that's a really big problem because it means that the gameplay is incredibly shallow, right? We're going in. The gameplay for Motor Guild Wars 2 it is paper thin, like wafer thin. It's one atom thin, right? And that's the really big problem, is because once you peel back the veil, once you've done the story, once you've beaten it for the first time, there is nothing there, and you log out for 3 months, right? And as you say, if you're a new player, that's not an issue, right? You can go and get ascended, you can get legendaries, right? But if you've already played the game and you have those things, these updates are one day, right? And then it is over. And that's because Arenanet does not really, they don't release something like a dungeon. They don't release something like a raid, right? Strike missions, not bad, right? I don't mind them. Like they're quite good. I like a strike mission. I do them fairly often, right? But like strike mission takes you like 3 minutes and then it's over, right? Like that's it's done. And in terms of rewards, I mean, I don't know if you're a reward player. To be honest, I don't even know what strike missions give you, right? I just do them because there's something to do on stream, pretty much. Like I don't know what they give you.
You know what? I'll actually give props for them. I do strikes every single day. Not the tank escort one, because that one takes like a freaking hour.
Oh yeah, that's good.
All the other strikes I do is like the warm up for my stream daily. You get a ton of karma, because every one of them gives you a few thousand karma. You get a ton of volatile magic for some reason. I don't know why, but you get volatile magic from like every one of them. I passed 100,000 volatile the other day, mostly from strikes, and I did a whole video where I cashed it out. And then you get unID'd stuff, and then like every strike mission, if you get gold on it, there's a chance of getting like a big ticket lottery item. Like in Grothmar, there's that chair, the Chili Chase, that when that came out, you could sell that for like 550 gold. So there's like a lottery item on every one of them. And then if you need Mastery XP in Icebrood still, they're a really easy way to get like their Mastery bars completely filled up. But
So
yeah, Karma and Volatile, that actually cashes out pretty well.
has anyone actually timed how long do you need to do strikes to actually get the full set of Ascended from the vendor? Because you can't get Ascended from the vendor.
I don't think anybody even looks at that. Like how many people actually know that you can get ascended, like full ascended gear from doing strike missions? Like that's a really good question.
But no, the vendor's right there. Why wouldn't you not see
The
it?
vendor's right there, but like how many people actually take the time to be like, oh hey, this is a thing I could get, maybe? Question mark.
I think arguably, if you got like no Ascended and you're looking at like what are my options on how to get it, it's one of the easier but also more brain dead ways of doing it, because you could literally farm. You get more profit shards the first time each day you do a strike, but like if you do Cold War over and over and over, you do get some profit shards every single time. So you could literally Cold War your way to Ascended. It would take a long time, but it's possible.
God.
So yeah. But the whole time you're doing it, you're getting other rewards as well. Occasional crates of 100 logs and volatile magic karma crap like that. But I actually I've got a video that basically tells new players like this is an option if you wish to go this route, but I've never timed it myself.
And this is another kind of gripe I have with Arenanet's design philosophy. They don't like farming, right? They don't like you doing the same thing over and over and over again. They want you to do multiple things every day. In fact, they will force you to do this if you won't comply, right? They do this with daily time gates, all this sort of thing, right? They want you to do a wide variety of activities instead of just letting the player just grind stuff out. This is like a really weird philosophy for MMOs, right? Like it's kind of the second thing that Arenanet do that is very anti-MMO, right? They don't like you to grind, and they don't want you to basically play their game every day to a certain extent, right? Because they do story content, right? They want you to log in when you want to and then basically log out. And if you think about this, if you're being really cynical, like this is exactly what you'd expect, right? They want you to log in a little bit and then log out because they don't have a sub fee. They don't need you to log in every day, right? They don't need you to come back every month. The only way they make money is through the gem store. So they want you to log in when there's something new in the store, right? When they've got an event on and you want to buy it. But they don't really need you playing all day, every day, right? They want you to log on, get your rewards, and then log off. So their server, they save server hours, right? It's kind of what it comes down to.
That's a little sad if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm being a little facetious there, right? Like, Arenanet just like the more casual gameplay style, right? Like, I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt there. I'm being a dank memer, for content, for the views, boys. Okay, but I think there's a grain of truth to that as well, right? Like, there's something, I don't know, like. This is a little bit of projection here, but like sometimes it does genuinely feel like veteran players are not wanted in Guild Wars 2, right? And you see that reflected in the way they develop their content and the way they release their content and the way they interact with the community. When I say the way they interact, I mean not at all. That's also another really big issue.
Yeah, it's I don't think they actually have any community manager now, do they? I don't think they do actually.
I don't know. I don't know if they have one. I don't know who it is.
Because the last one I know was Gale Gray.
I have grouped with Darkbringer at least 2 times.
Darkbringer. I think
He's in the TP guild actually.
Yeah, he's actually in our guild. But here's the thing. I've noticed that the actual devs who do play the game, if you interact with them enough, they actually do talk and discuss things. They obviously can't say much because of NDA and things like that. So, they can't tell you much, but they can have a simple discussion, at least open the discussion, and then whatever they can't spill, they just don't spill. I think like that's kind of one of the only positive things I've seen in community interaction, which they've tried, is the devs that actually respond to a player in the game and things of that nature. Because if anyone in here has seen the forums has been the worst in trying to get any constructive criticism going. To the point, I think in some of the posts have been on the forums where they tell you there will be no negative or any negative feedback, only positive feedback given, which is, you
That
know,
was
It's a whole different game mode over
It's
there.
a very, very old screenshot, to be fair, right? That's a very old message. But yeah, I mean, Arenanet has
it's a very old message,
not
but
the best track record, have they?
yeah, no, it's a very old screenshot. But the fact is that screenshot has been applied to many posts on the forums. That's the problem. But I don't know. I mean, it goes back to like other issues that they've had. Basically, communication has always not been their best way. I would say that's true. They get a lot of things right, but I think the smaller details they always miss on marketing and the communication and things of that nature. And I think they,
Marketing is the big one, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Which one?
Marketing.
Yeah.
I have people all the time because I've got so many videos that are catered toward like getting new players or brand new players. Like if the experts go to teapots, the newbies come to me, and I've got so much stuff on that. And sometimes people come in and they'll be like, what do you think is like the weakest part of this game? And I'm like, the advertising, the marketing. Like the last one I know of was through Quiznos.
I mean,
There are no Quiznos around me.
I-
And I'm in the New York area. Like,
I-
I'm actually sad.
I honestly I don't even know what a Quiznos is.
It's a Subway shop. It's like Subway sandwiches. This is just a different
Toasted
thing.
Subway
You
sandwiches.
could have just partnered with Subway.
Too expensive.
Come on now. They spend money. They have money to spend on different aspects of this game. They
Are
need.
you
Spent it on the
honestly
theater.
saying that the problem with that decision with Quiznos is that they didn't do Subway?
I mean, we're talking about semantics of a specific thing. You know what I mean? But I think it's like, if they took the time to, like Heart of Thorns or Path of Fire, put up billboards. If you're gonna, I know they always go by the whole, our players will market this game for us, and word of mouth and things like that. But you are a brand. You're an MMO. That is, that's part of what you have to do as well. Like, no one's saying put up billboards in the most expensive parts
No,
of
they
everything,
actually
but
did. I mean, like, they had an abstract commercial once of this like lady coming out of a pool and turning into a Norn, and then
Oh my god, that's so old.
Why are you
Don't-
reminding me? Why are you bringing
Why-
this up?
well, no, they actually did a billboard. They put up paper flyers that look like a cartoon character when you're looking for a lost dog, and they just like put glue on the back and stick it to a wall. They had the Quiznos campaign. Like, they need to do like a Twitch commercial. Like when you're forced to watch an ad before you tune into a stream. Put some of those out there. I don't know what is involved in it, but if you could get the game on Steam, that would be a flood of players that would try it. If it's in the free-to-play section of Steam, so many people will give a shot to a game. Stuff like that. You don't need to be going around in the real world and putting up papers on walls or on billboards. Like, that's not going to do it. Have you ever bought a game because you saw a billboard?
no, I
that
mean
had a
commercials. I mean,
Raid Shadow Legends.
honestly, the commercials for Raid Shadow Legends are very impressive. I have to say, like I keep looking.
They spent a lot of money.
I'm sure they do
I hear
because
they hired real orcs. Like, they're amazing.
I actually want to know the names of those champions now. But that's just one of the other aspects flaws, and then not to kind of jump too much off the discussion. But I think like in more or less, their content team is more I believe that they have more content team focused on the living story, and I feel like it might be. I mean, who knows what their ratio is, but for me, it feels like there's kind of an imbalance. There's too many people working on living story, not too many people working on programming newer features into the game, newer modes into the game, and not a new mode in specific, like something entirely new. Like, you can't make anything from the previous dungeon codes because they have the whole spaghetti code thing. But you can still make your own version of a dungeon. You're still a new team. You still have access to make another dungeon. It just won't be what it was before. You know what I mean? I don't think they don't focus anymore on content that they've done before, and I don't know why. Like that was content that was very successful at the start of the game.
If I could rephrase what you're saying, I think we would agree on this. Is we'd love to see if there was a team for PvP, a team for new raids, a team for new fractals, etc.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like another really. I mean, this is like the ultimate epic
This is the
fail here. Like Arena, instead of developing an idea that they had that's good, they'll just say, okay, right, that's dead. Let's make a new one instead. Right. So in a way, they are doing what you want, but they're not doing it in a particularly productive way. They'll just say, you know what? They'll go, oh, guys, no one plays raids. We released 3 bosses a year and nobody plays it. Oh, why? I wonder why. It's like, oh, well, I think I can tell you, like why no one, why the raid community is struggling when there is no support for it whatsoever, right? Like Arena don't like to develop stuff. They've made strike missions instead of making new fractals and new raids, right? There is supposed to be a new fractal. Bear in mind, it will have been 2 years since the last fractal.
Soon, TM.
Yeah, when
Oh
they
man.
hired A back,
Yeah,
I
it's with alliances. It's gonna come out with alliances, my dude.
Okay,
I'm
don't remind me about alliances now.
I'm sorry, right? Like this is one of the reasons why I don't do my podcast anymore. It's because like, damn, dude, like don't my advice to Guild Wars 2 veterans is just don't think about it, right? Like don't think about it.
But what do you do? Like, because like you have people who say like, what do I do in this game? I've done everything. For like a veteran who, not they don't have every legendary they own, right? They have the ones that they want. They've either from Gen 1, Gen 2, they probably have like a couple legendary armors or maybe just enough for what they need. And then they have their achievements. And like, what do you tell a veteran player? Like, what do you do? Do you just tell them, just come back every 3 months and then play and then go away for 3 months? Or do you tell them, find
this
something?
is a super easy question. This is a really easy question to answer, actually. And this is going to blow a lot of MMO players' minds, actually, because I know a lot of people don't play like this. But the only way to play Guild Wars 2 long-term is to play it for fun. If you play this game for rewards, you will not find it enjoyable. Go play World of Warcraft, go play Final Fantasy, or basically literally any other MMO. Go play old school RuneScape, right? You'll have a rewarding experience there. The only viable way to play Guild Wars 2 long-term is if you actually like the gameplay, not the cookie it gives you for clicking on it, right? Okay, that's the difference. If you play this game for cookies, you will burn out and you will quit, right? This is not a cookie game. This is a gameplay game. Hence my focus on it earlier, right, in our discussion. This game is all about, is it fun? If it isn't fun, then you are not going to play the game, right? Because there's not going to be enough content and you will just quit.
You need what you're describing is like games with gear treadmills. You need one of those for nonstop cookies, where they like raise the item levels like every
exactly, yeah,
crap like that.
And Guild Wars 2 doesn't have that. Now, I want to be very clear there. I actually think that's a good design. I actually think that Gear Treadmill is it's not 2005 anymore, guys, right? We can actually make a game that's fun in and of itself. We don't need to have a cookie to have fun, right? Like, what the hell do you think this is, right? I think Guild Wars 2 is good design on that aspect, but I think they really struggle to kind of maintain that model, right? They struggle to actually provide a compelling experience for players to play the game long term.
Yeah, I would say some of that like fun can also come with like being in the community, being in a guild, even having a group of friends to play with. Because for me, I do enjoy what I play in the game, trading and everything, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that like I get to interact with a lot of people, and if I didn't have that interaction, I think I would have had more burnouts in this game than before. Like I've had burnouts of this game when I used to play more of kind of like a lone trader kind of thing, and I'm sure a lot of people do. But I would say being in the community really does help in a way, and I think a lot of guilds go out of their way, and I think a lot of Discord Guild Wars 2 Discord communities go a lot of their way providing that sense, but I feel like it does have to be more integrated in the game.
Yeah, this is a galaxy brain take from you, It's not even a meme. I'm not being sarcastic there either. This is actually, again, one of the, I guess you could argue, fundamental failures of Guild Wars 2 is that community is irrelevant because none of the content even is close to requiring it. Why should I interact with another human being when I can just hold my W and one key and like face roll over the entire content, right? Okay, and the answer is you wouldn't, right? Like, I understand that Arenanet like to play how you want, and again, I think that's good. Play how you want. I'm actually really, it's weird actually. A lot of people think I'm like this mega hardcore, super tryhard elite. It's quite the opposite. I'm really big advocate for new players and accessibility within the game actually, just as a whole. But the problem is that it's okay to have a lot of content that's easy, like open world. That's absolutely fine. I've got no issue with that, right? But I think the problem is when nothing in the game requires you to even interact with another human being, right? That's when you have an issue. And this also causes a lot of problems. It's why people get shocked when they go into World versus World when they're expected to get in Discord, right? It's why people are shocked when they're expected to have a build, right? When they play raids that actually does something. It isn't like carrion longbow ranger, right? It's because none of the game has any of this kind of expectation or requirement to actually really know what your buttons do or interact with anyone. And the lack of integration of social features into Guild Wars 2 is absolutely one of the cornerstone problems with Guild Wars 2 that has never really been even addressed in the game. They did this a little bit with guild missions and guild halls and stuff like that, but well, you know, guilds
I mean, they said like, let's get to new content, let's forget this one, kind of thing. You know,
and it's a meme to say this, right? And it's not a good point. I'll preface that, but you know, where are the guilds in Guild Wars? They aren't there, right? You don't have these communities, these big open world communities anymore. You know, TXS, right, and TTS, right? These guys all quit the game, right? And they said, yeah, they don't add any more group open world content that really needs a guild like this, so we are going to quit, and they do quit. And what you said about you know, community keeping people in the game, you're completely right. Like, I think if I wasn't a streamer, I would have quit this game years ago, like without question. Actually, I'd have been playing something else with, you know, with friends, right? And now I'm trying to make a community guild of my own, right, which is another thing entirely. But you're absolutely right. Like, community is how you continue playing games, MMOs in general, but especially Guild Wars 2. And it's a completely essential thing. Like Discords, guilds, etc. It is streams, right? It's completely essential to playing Guild Wars 2 long term, and it's why. Even though World versus World is arguably like the you know, the deadest, memeiest game mode, right? They hang on, right? They hang on. They do not die. Arenanet might try and kill them, but dude, like, these guys are more resilient than cockroaches, right? Like, you'll never get rid of the World versus World players, right? Because they are just in really strong, close-knit communities, even though there's basically nothing, you know, no updates coming through. Alliances at this point are approaching meme territory, right? Like, it's pretty close.
Approaching.
It's already
Well,
approached.
okay,
But
it's already there, right? But you know, they stick together because the game is fun, right? And this is something that about World versus World that not a lot of people know. Like, the game mode's actually really good. It's probably the most interesting game mode in Guild Wars 2, right? That would be, yeah, that's debatable, of course, but I really like World versus World just from a design perspective. But they're all friends with each other, and they do guild activities. They all get in Discord and, you know, start yelling at, you know, go, oh yeah, we're killing, like, you know, they're going crazy, and they're having fun because they're playing with friends. It turns out that solo MMORPGs don't exist for a reason, right? But Arenanet kind of insist on trying to push it in that direction, which is unfortunate. But they'll never get rid of me, and they'll never get rid of the World versus World community. Don't worry.
I think, well, I mean, I'd be hoping for WW to come back so I could start my alliance, get #1 first season. But like,
Okay, all right.
oh, you're trying to contest too, huh? Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
I mean,
He's a big man,
NAB,
big man.
Okay, let's see. You're going up against. All right.
Gilda gonna like just take out his wallet and hit us with it for all the damage.
No, I'm
Oh
joking.
my god.
You know,
Imagine.
Your in-game wallet, not the one that's out of money because you order food every night.
I got to stop talking. Some of you guys have got to make this a little bit more PMA. I've been like straight roasting Arenanet for like the last half
No,
hour.
I think it's just honest opinions. I
I
think.
was trying to let you crash and burn so that Gildem could have your partner slot.
Oh man, I kind of feel like the whole partner slot for me might be difficult because I trade in the game. How could I don't know.
They're trading.
I don't want to get into it, but like.
All right, here. How about here? Real talk. So, Gildem, have you played the game since launch, like without a break, 7 years?
I've been playing since Guild Wars 1.
And Teapot, you too?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I played the game at launch, and then I hit max level, and I don't remember why I got bored of it. And so I came back to the game, like I said, 14 months ago. So I haven't yet hit the level of burnout that you guys are at. So, you know, a lot of the issues you guys are talking about, I've only recently started seeing them because I've basically been the new player for the last year. So it's just, I think I've just got a different, like, I understand your thoughts. I'm just not there yet.
I just want to very quickly clarify on that. I'm personally probably enjoying Guild Wars 2 more than I have for years right now. I am really enjoying playing this game. In its current state, right? I'm doing a lot of weird activities with my guild, right, and getting that going, right, and playing PvP and doing ATs, playing World versus World. I am having a lot of fun, right? But that doesn't change the fact that there are some incredibly glaring issues that, in my opinion, are essentially holding the game back from really progressing any further than it is. Right? When,
Sure.
when I said earlier that this is it, guys, this is what you are getting. Right? I didn't mean that in necessarily a derogatory way. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the game a lot. I'll just say it here. I'll say it live on stream. Guild Wars 2 is the best MMORPG right now, and in my opinion, it's not actually close. Right? It's not just a little bit better than a lot of the traditional tab target MMOs. It's a lot better than the traditional tab target MMOs.
Yeah.
Right? It is a very good game. However, it kills me, right, when I see these problems that are holding it back from actually making a dent in the market, right? If you go to a Twitch streamer like Asmongold, right, a World of Warcraft streamer, and you mention Guild Wars 2, you're going to see the chat filled with Omega lulz, right? Okay, the game,
They think it's a joke.
I'm glad you said that because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, Muck.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here for me. Okay, right?
Yes, I'm happy to be your fall guy.
But yeah, the game is a meme, right? Because it doesn't focus on multiplayer content that much, right? And it really kills me because the game is so good, right? The game is so good. Almost anyone who plays WoW or Final Fantasy would absolutely love Guild Wars 2, and I'm sure you can attest to that, right? Seeing as you have a lot of new players in your community, right? Who have come from other games, right? They love it.
I myself played WoW for 10 years before this, and before that I played EverQuest for like 7 or 8. So I was actually shocked at the level of enjoyment I got from this. Like I never thought I'd feel that level of fun from an MMO again because I had just done so much already. And I was shocked that this game has kept me coming back every night for the last year.
Yeah.
I think one of the things in this game is, while there are some limitations, and like you said, like for me, one of the reasons why this is one of the greatest games is, first of all, once you play the combat system, you cannot go to any other combat system. I would say Guild Wars 2 has the best combat system in the game. It is, one of the most smoothest things I've in any game I've played. It's one of the smoothest systems they've had. Second, now this is probably why they probably push Living Story the most. They're really good at telling stories. If you go through all the seasons, they have crafted really well, really well made stories that have really, you've actually, as much as this is, some of them kind of feel like a TV show, you feel like those characters. People actually want Bram to die, people want Timey to die. There's actual things with a lot of these characters at a bigger level than most of the other. I've never felt the same way in when I played WoW. It was just I'm raiding. Every night I'm just raiding every day and things like that. So it was in Guild Wars 2.
WoW deaths aren't permanent. Kael'thas is coming back for the 3rd time in the next expansion. His second death is merely a setback, so that's why no one takes death seriously in that game.
Yeah, so here, that's the thing. It's here they made a connection, and they're not afraid to actually kill off people in the game. And then you're oh boy, I hope they don't kill Ritlock or anything.
I mean, Aurene, how long did that last? I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, she could be an exception though. That one's a dragon. They can't just kill a dragon like that. Although she had shards up on her neck and everything. I'm not sure how that would have worked.
Yeah, she ate all that shit's fine. Just walk that off.
But it's I think storytelling, the combat system, they have unique game World vs. World PvP, as underrated as they are, they're some of the best systems they've put in this game. And when you tell me how is this game doing, the PvE system of this game, the PvE mode of this game is doing very well. Open world and story is probably the best. And yeah, maybe Fractals and Raids is not getting the love that it needs, but in general, when you look at this game, it's doing very well. And the one thing I've loved about this game is the fact that once you reach level 80, it's improving your skill. It's nothing about, once you get legendary armor, that's it. There's no higher tiered weapon item that you have to keep striving, and every 3 months your previous weapon is obsolete, your previous armor is obsolete, and you have to keep catching up. Yeah, it's not like, yeah, exactly. It's not the cookie, as Teapot says. It's not the cookie, but it's more about you improving as a player and actually getting better.
Yeah. Which is good design, by the way. Very good design.
Yeah, exactly.
Medieval safe partner after all.
That's the save. See, you
I
hit.
think this is what splits the community in two, though. This is where you have new players that are coming in that haven't touched this game, that haven't played it as long as veterans have, and everything is great about this game. As a brand new player, everything would be amazing. Again, since launch, been here, but you're gonna get to a point, right? Veterans get to a point where it's no longer you can only get. I mean, yes, your skill can get better. You can get that PvP title. You can get whatever that other title in World v World is. I can't remember it. Or you could
Ultimate
be
Dominator.
Ultimate
that one.
Dominant, yeah.
Or you could do all the challenge modes in every single raid, all the CM raids. But once you do that, where are you left, right? Like, as a veteran player, I'm just like, I love the game, love the story. I speculate all the time about what's gonna happen next, where are we gonna go next, why can't how the hell did we get there? And I'm just like, all right, cool, but like, what do I have to do currently? I mean, for me currently, right now, thankfully, I found like the whole TP and overflow community, and since then, it's just reinvigorated the game for me. But without the community, without people, I'm just like, okay, cool. I have some legendary stuff. I don't care for the weapons much. I like the armors. I've made the stuff that I wanted, and I achieved the skill level that I wanted to get to. And if it wasn't for bumping into Sushin one time and joining the whole TP guild and the whole trading aspect and talking with people in that level, I probably would have taken another break. And that's what I kept doing. Every year I would play for 6 months, then I'd go off, do something else, and then come back. And what does that really say about the state of the game for this, right? Like, how is that kind of like bringing this all together now? How is that bringing first off, like, new players have to be brought in. How are they being brought in? Are they? Question mark. And then how are veteran players getting rewarded over time? Yeah, like, again, are they? Question mark.
I think new players are coming in. I think there's actually a lot of new players. I think Arenanet does do a good job. Like even though like the marketing memes are certainly there, I think Arenanet does actually have a really good reach because they are the MMO that you play when you rage quit your current MMO, right? They're the fallback MMO. They always are, and they always have been, and that really plays well for them, right? When Bless Online just like flops horribly, right? That's really good for Arenanet. When Final Fantasy is having a bit of a content drought right now, that's great for Arenanet. If the World of Warcraft expansion Shadowlands isn't good, then it's great news for Arenanet, right? And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I'm not joking, right? That is honestly how the Guild Wars 2 system works. It's the game that is so different from other MMOs that people will rage quit their MMO and might fall neatly into into Arenanet. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's like the comfortable best friend that girl always goes back to after she dumps that like douchebag. But then it's like, a brand new guy comes by and it's like, hey, comfortable best friend, I'm gonna go over there. She'll come back later on. She'll be like, why can't I find guys like you? And then that guy is like, but you could just choose me. It's like, no, 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 no.
I'm a guy like me. I think, yeah, like kind of wrapping up the state of the game in a way, and so we can move on to a bit of the armory and then maybe just a bit of quick speculation on Cantha. Overall, like, closing like statements on the state of the game. What do you think could improve, or what do you think you would like to see the company improve on? What do you think is something that they're doing very well at this current state of the game right now? And let's start with Teapot.
Okay, so wait, we wanted to do what is something that they could improve? They could do better?
Something they can improve on right now, something that they're already doing very well, so that there's a positive and something that they can work better on.
Something positive, okay? They have a very good game. They have a very good product. And I think that we have actually genuinely seen movement to improve from Arenanet with regards to communicating with the player base and developing game modes particularly PvP and World versus World, with the addition of CMC into the mix. I genuinely think they're doing a good job there. I think they stumbled a little bit with coronavirus, but I expect very good things about the next balance patch. And I think a balance patch is huge. It's really going to completely, hopefully, change the way PvP is played, maybe even change the way PvE is played. And I think that gives a lot of longevity and life to the game. So I really hope they continue to do that. Now, I will say that they did stumble a little bit, and so that's also something they also need to kind of improve on as well. They need to make sure they keep doing that and consistently communicate with the community about that and improve their tempo, right, their pacing, and the way they get that done. It's very, very important to do. But that is a good thing. And the thing they need to improve on is they need to add repeatability to their content, and they need to make it genuinely engaging instead of just like a TV show, right? I don't have a problem with movie games, right? Like there's plenty of really successful ones, right? Like stuff like Last of Us, that's a good game, right? Okay, it is a movie game, but it's still a good game. I think that just doesn't really fit in with the MMO genre. I think you're much better off having a lot of repeatable content that will get you logging in every day. You want to play that. You want to log in with your guild, right? And that's kind of segues into the final thing. I won't take up too much more of the time here. I think we need to see drastic improvement to the social engagement, the social dynamics within the game. You should be excited to log in to play with your friends, right? Oh yeah, we're going to do that raid today. Yeah, we're going to do Wing 5 CMs, right? We're going to do Doom CM. We're going to play World Boss. We're going to play that daily AT, right? And we're going to get further in that daily AT. That's what needs to be driven. We want to upgrade our guild, right? We want to do those guild missions, right? We want to speed run open world bosses, right? Like that's what we need to see inspired within the Guild Wars 2 community from Arenanet, right? Like some genuine social dynamics, like some social dynamism within the game, because that is how you keep your MMO sustained, even when you don't have a lot of content, right? Because ultimately, no amount of content will ever keep you busy. WoW can't do it. Final Fantasy can't do it. No one can do it, right? It doesn't matter how hard you make your raid. The players are going to beat it within like 2 weeks, right? Or whatever, right? Or however long it takes. And Guild Wars 2 isn't going to go super, super challenging. So, that they aren't even going to get to there. But that's fine, because you can sustain your community by having a good game and having a lot of social interaction, because playing games online is fun. It's why we're still here, right?
Very much. Muck?
We should have had him go last. That's going to be hard to follow. All right. So I feel kind of like the new guy on the block when it comes to community. I've very much re-fallen in love with this game over the last year. As someone who's played MMOs at this point for almost 20 years now, I was shocked at how much enjoyment I get out of this playing it every day. And, I think I'm still in the starry-eyed stage. I'm not at the old disgruntled, just trying to get my paycheck stage that some of the vets are at right now. But agree, it is a fantastic game. When I am talking to other people that are thinking about playing the game, I find that this game is a very easy sell. And to be clear on that for anyone watching this later, I don't mean that I'm selling them the game. I mean, it's very easy to convince someone who's interested to download it. Like the free to play all the way to maximum level, and WoW it's free to play to level 30. And in Elder Scrolls Online it's free to play, but you've got handcuffs on. Stuff like that. Like there's all these other games. Like there's nothing that offers like this is free to play, no subscription fee. The DLCs are free when they come out. What? Like that's insane compared to most competitors. It's just you buy the expansions and then miss the DLCs. You could grind gold and buy them from the in-game shop using gold to gems, if you really want to do that, and then it's not pay to win, like all of that is fantastic. So I got a lot of good things to say about the game. Things they could do better. I know that the game has a history when I wasn't here of being really slow to update when there's a problem. Like something's OP, well, it's going to be OP for a year, problems like that. I know just recently we had the Omega patch with like 700 changes when CMC took over. That was really nice to see, and I've been bragging about that to new players. Like, yeah, there's new people in charge of balancing, and things are looking good right now. It's a good time, stuff like that. I hope that trend continues. I would love for it to be even more frequent, but I also understand, that things are weird right now. They're working from home, they're in quarantine, their voice actors can't even get to a microphone right now, stuff like that. But overall, I like it. I would like to see, coming from WoW Mythic rating, it really shocked me when I found out that challenge modes, you only get those bonus rewards on the very first kill. That you don't get those every time. That blew me away. I was like I don't need like the long-term cookie, but I need a little bit more. Like, give me 1 more gold or something for killing this boss at such an insanely higher difficulty. You know, like do something there. I would love to see that. Like that's not even me. I'm not a challenge mode person anymore for raids, but I would love to see that get kicked up a notch.
Let's fix that.
You know, you would be proud of me. I actually started a quest recently. I was like, I want a legendary in every slot. And over the last 6 months, I did Aurora Vision, Conflux, Transcendence, and I'm currently working on Coalescence, which is the entire reason I stepped into raiding a few months ago for the very first time. So I'm chipping away at those 150 LDs for the Coalescence.
Ah, fantastic.
That's something to do.
We'll make an elitist of you yet.
Oh yes.
One soon, TM he will be on our side. Red, do you have any things you want to say?
I pretty much would kind of agree with everything that Teapot was saying. That they need to add a little bit more of a social aspect to a social game. The PvP scene, they have a lot of, you know, there's a back and forth. There's a leaderboard, right? There's rankings. There are things you can look at, right? A Worldly World, same thing. There's rankings. You know, a thought would be maybe they could have leaderboards for clears on raid wings, on dungeons, fractals, strike missions. What if they, you know, they said, oh, you know, top team did this. This is their names. This is their builds. It's like they'll show you the little things here and there. It might be a little extra work on them, but I'd be excited to do a raid and be like, oh, hey, look, we're like number 300. Let's try to bump up. Next week, we're like number 250. I'd wanna continue that point. Obviously, there'd be other teams that are going a lot harder, and yeah, you're building more of a little bit of an elitist thing there, because a lot of people are gonna be like super tryharding and getting like a sub 1 minute Sabbatha kill. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, you know, that's not going to happen with us. But it's something to engage the entire community to be like, I want to beat that record. The world record for this boss was 1 minute. I want to be faster than that. And then it gets engagement, right? It gets the community to do something, to achieve something greater. And I feel like something like that, they could even have a speed clear for world bosses. Like, how cool would that be? Like, imagine trying to defeat Drakkar the fastest. You'd have people running actual raid rotations, right? You'd have people actually try-harding these bosses. You'd have a lot of griefers. You'd have a lot of, you know, memers. But, hey, it's an MMO. That's bound to happen. And, again, stuff like that, little things like that would be pretty dope to see.
Okay. I think mainly my points would be things that they're already doing well on. Again, like I think they're like Muk said, like their DLC content, the fact that they can push out content that's free, it's still pretty decent for what it gives you out. Like every 2 months that you have a solid storyline, there's a cliffhanger, it leads into the next one. They do very well with that. The maps are honestly well done. The maps are really well done. You know, minus all the talk that we said about like them being their own bubbles. The maps in themselves, you know, when they have interesting metas, they've shown that they can really create something nice. Like, and I can even just give you a few examples. Like you have in LS4, you have the Sandswept meta, North Specimen Chamber. You have in what's it called? Is it Jahai Bluffs? You have the branded Shatterer, for example. Like they've shown that they can really improve on certain maps where they take bits and pieces from older core games, like, you know, branded Shatterer being from the Shatterer himself. So I think those are things they've already improved on. They're doing a great job on. And the other thing I would say is more or less the whole PvE aspect as a ratio, but minus the raids and fractals. I think it's solidly well done. Their open world is probably one of the best in terms of like what it does for players. You have things like Auric Basin, Tangled Depths, Dragon Stand, where they're continuously run every day. That's a 5-year-old expansion, and those maps are still active every day. So there's great replayability in a lot of their maps. it's specific ones, but they've shown that they have really great systems out there. Things I wish they would improve on would definitely be, yes, more social involvement. The same thing that Teapot says, and same thing Red basically agrees on. I think that social aspect of bringing players together would be more important because, anything you play with friends is always going to be more fun, especially in an MMO where it focuses on you being with people. I think that social aspect of it probably would be their thing. That I would say would be their biggest improvement if they can get that done. There might be other priorities, but I would say that's definitely one that should be in the top category of priority. I think with that being said, that wraps up the whole state of the game. I think we still have a few minutes for the Armory update and your thoughts on the Armory update. So I think we could wrap it up with the Armory, more or less. What's your general opinion on?
Teapot's making a face.
He's already ready on this because the thing is, Teapot already discussed this on his stream maybe 10, 20 times. So I already know he has opinions on opinions.
So this is a really interesting one. This is a big moment for Arenanet. It's going to be a lot like gear templates. This is going to be a moment where they could either shine or completely implode and fail, right? Like this, it's going to be so interesting to watch it unfold. Like if they execute this like the players want, they can look amazing. They can go, wow, look at this. We have created this super cool feature that makes legendary gear genuinely insane. It's so good, they've actually convinced me, right, to do Aurora Vision. I am actually going to go for full legendary because of legendary Armory. I'm confessing that on this recording right now.
That is what pushed me into doing
right? And I'm going to do that. And that's something I would never do, right? Like the idea of doing Aurora,
Casual content.
Yeah, I'm getting worried. Right? I'm already getting.
You don't want to go to Draconis Mons 15 times?
No, I don't. I really don't. But I will do it for Legendary Armory. My only concern, it sounds like a great system. It genuinely sounds good. In terms of functionality, I have nothing bad to say about this, really. My only concern is, how is it going to work with transmutation? You're going to have different, hopefully you'll be able to have different skins. It will kind of like duplicate the item in a way. You'll be able to have different skins on different characters. Otherwise, that's really, really awkward. And secondly, okay, monetization. If they monetize it,
each legendary can be shared for $2.99.
Exactly. Like that is where things go bad because, in my opinion, it is really important that they don't do that, right? And I know that's like, oh, you expect devs to work for free? No, I don't. But you've got to bear in mind that the Legendary Armory is essentially Arenanet rectifying one of their mistakes, because when they added build templates, because they wanted, the only reason they did this, the only reason they added like that armory space, right, where you can store additional items there, the only reason they did that was because they wanted to monetize it, right, so they could make it worth something, right, make it worth money. And this, accidentally made legendary gear really bad, right? Because one, it doesn't play very well with the build template system, and two, this essentially made legendary armor no longer save you any inventory space, right? Because you could just have all your builds stored in the ether, right? Like essentially, right, in the armory space they introduced with build templates. So legendary armory is essentially them saying, okay, yep, our bad, we're fixing that by making legendary armor really, really good. And to be fair, it is a really good feature. Once you get a heavy legendary helm, you never have to get a helm ever again. That's super cool, right? That makes a piece of legendary get very, very punchy, very impactful. Fantastic. Love it, right? But if that's got a price tag attached to it, okay, that's going to leave a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth, in my opinion. But other than that, I got no complaints.
Here's the thing. It's like, the question I have is like, it's not a fact is it's going to be monetized or not. It's going to be monetized for sure. They have to make their money somehow. But my question is, how many templates do you actually get for free? Do you get one legendary armor template? Do you get 2 legendary weapon slots and then you buy the rest? So that's 3 templates. How's it going to work? That's my thing. Like the ratio of how much you're going to have to pay for gems versus what comes for free when you first get it. That's really what I'm at with it.
I fear that if they monetize it, which of course I hope they don't, but I fear that if they do, it's going to be like you can share 2 legendaries and then you pay gems per additional legendary to share or something like that. That would be...
Maybe they do a bundle or something.
I mean, if I'm going off of the what if they don't? How about if they have like a legendary quest type thing where you have to build like some type of magical uh etheric armory, right? That's always connected to your entire account. And that requires like a lot of legendary crafting material, like T6 sets, mystic coins, mystic clovers, or stuff like that. Like, obviously, again, wishful thinking, but I definitely have to agree with MM. This is probably going to be another gem grab for them, another cash grab for them. Um, I I could always hope. I'm sure we all do. But at the end of the day, this is definitely going to be something that we're going to see an uproar about this. And we're going to see people just kind of suck it up and be like, well, guess I'm putting some money into the game. And I mean, it's not the worst thing. And yeah, you can also, convert your gold into gems. Not terrible. But yeah, I definitely see this being more of a, hey, so you can do this and we give you one free slot, but like, you want some more? Well, we need some gems.
If it wasn't for what happened with build templates, I would totally be the kind of guy that's like, no, they wouldn't do that. You guys are out of your mind. But then just because of build templates, I was just like,
Legendary Armory template. Each character has to have a legendary Armory template to use the legendary Armory.
Oh no, okay, that's a little too much now.
I do also worry about the trans. I'm trying to point at Teapot here. The
Transmutation.
transmutation thing. That's something I've thought of as well. Like, if all your characters all your heavy characters look identical and etc., it'd be kind of. Ugh.
I mean,
Yep.
Fashion Wars. It's the end of the game. It's the name of the game. They have to do
I think
something.
it's very
like
unlikely.
That.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely we end up with a system where your, your cosmetic options are limited, right? That is literally, it's not even a meme. That is basically the point of Guild Wars 2 endgame progression, right? Is to look pretty. So.
Unless if they're like, well, you guys all share the same skin, but outfits can override that, and everybody can have their own unique outfits, and then that's pushing another gem store
Red, that's
thing.
devil talk.
No, please no.
I could see that. I know. Again, I'm kind of being like, worst case scenario, this might be a thing. It's like, oh hey, you look ugly, don't worry about it. Just put an outfit on.
I think no, I agree with Teapot. Like, it's probably gonna be a way where like you're just equipping the template, but you're still retaining your fashion sense in a way. Like, there's no way it's Arenanet. There's no way they're not gonna make you be comfortable in your amazing fashion wars.
People will shout. People will definitely be mad if they did that. Like, that's
No,
gonna
I
be
think
rectified
yeah.
instantly.
No, I think they probably have that already in place. They've already thought about it. I would assume they've thought about it at least.
I just have a few more minutes, by the way, just to
Well, let's see. What else do we need? I think the Armory kind of was the shortest thing to really talk about. I think the only thing that's left to say is, when do you actually expect it to release?
At least 6 months.
I'm actually a little bit more optimistic. I actually think it will be after the next episode, but before the next episode.
So like August.
Maybe around that kind of area. Yeah, maybe like 3 months from now.
4 wins. Ooh.
When they released that forum post, because there's been 2 posts about this. The one where they announced it, and then there was that second post. There was like, it basically said, "Oh, we're so glad to see how excited you guys are about this idea. We're totally going to do it now." And I was just like, what?
Or you're not already doing it?
Yeah, I thought you started this 3 months ago. And it was just like an update that wasn't an update. And it just completely threw my mind for a loop.
I want to be like, hey, what should we do next? I don't know. Ask the people.
I don't think it's something that... I know some people are like, oh, it might just come out in the expansion. I think this one comes out in the saga. I don't know when. Honestly, I think it should come out... I speculated it for it honestly to be out by like July, but that doesn't look like it's an actual realization. So I would say the update after Teapot's update. So that would be September or something, or October. Something like that.
I'll guess end of the year.
Speaking of the expansion, I actually don't think that releasing it with the expansion would be the worst thing in the universe. Right? This is something where I've talked about this a bit on the stream. Actually, I think it would be really good for Arenanet and for Guild Wars 2 in the long term if they saved a lot of features like alliances, maybe even the legendary army, and then released it all in one go. I think that would actually be something that would be quite good. So it's worth a consideration. They might do that. And release it with the expansion to have like these big headliner features when they actually drop the expansion. I think that would actually be fairly beneficial for the game if they did that. But I'm not sure. I don't think that's very likely. I think they do intend to release it during the saga.
I think
having legendary armors in Cantha from Cantha. Imagine like a Gen 3 coming out with Cantha, another set of legendary armors with Cantha themed behind it.
Yeah.
Again, Envoy armor is kind of like that.
They will never release another set of legendary armor like the raid armor. It is not going to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I don't think the people that made it even work there anymore, or at least some of them.
Not a lot of them, and it was a living hell to develop. It required the dreaded engine work to make it functional. Apparently, to make the legendary armor for raids of that quality, which is fantastic quality by the way, except for the trench coat. What the hell were they thinking?
Thank you.
But it took them 2 years, or as it was famously put by the lead designer of raids, 1 year twice. Yeah, also known as 2 years, right? For to the rest of us, right? And the reason for that is basically, well, you know, to give him some credit, like the guy who said that is a really nice guy called Arenanet. Paul doesn't work at the company anymore, but super nice guy. Used to hang out with us. And do some raids with us. Even he even acts that we even tricked him into selling a raid once, which is very, very naughty of us. We shouldn't have done that. Wasn't me, by the way. Just want to say, wasn't me. But anyway, you know, they basically did it. They did 1 year of development on legendary armor. They weren't happy with it. Right? This is not good enough. They just completely scrapped it and did it again for another year. So that's why the 1 year twice meme comes from. So it's not actually as ridiculous as it sounds.
That makes sense. I would expect like features like that in the new expansion. It's not far-fetched that alliances is postponed there too. I think that makes more sense. Cantha, alliances, Guild Wars 1, factions had alliances. It kind of ties in. I wouldn't... That's not really out of reach for me, at least, as well. Yeah, with regards to Armory, that's really it, to be honest. I think it, for me at least, in Teapot, it is a couple of months. Mukluk, you got it maybe towards closer to the end of the year. Red.
I'd say if they want to monetize it, probably around Christmas season. You know, the holiday season's a good way to be like, hey, this is some gems, but guess what? We have a sale. Type of thing, you know?
Whoa, would you look at that?
You know, well, I will hope for like maybe an August or September back to school sale, maybe. Something like that.
Back to school, online school, you mean?
Yes, in the game. Imagine. I think that kind of wraps up all the topics. I somehow managed to crack that down at an hour, 35 minutes. So, and we were actually not all over the place as much as the previous podcast me and Red were in. Mostly to our fault, but like, yeah, I enjoyed this conversation. It was nice. It's very different from a lot of the conversations we usually have that are more always related to market and economy and stuff. So it was really nice to have a discussion where it kind of got viewpoints of both of you guys, because, you know, Teapot, you have a very different audience from the audience that watches Mukluk, and so it was very good to actually get both of you on this podcast to see the different viewpoints. And I think some of the things that you guys actually agreed on, there were things that you guys actually agreed on. So it was nice to see that all of us have differing opinions, but can agree on some things about this game, which is, it is really a great game, honestly. It does have a lot of things that give it a lot of positives, and I think those positives keep us playing, and that's what brings us all together.
At this part in the video on YouTube, I'm going to have a big neon sign that says #MM for partner that's just going to be flashing right here.
That's my cell. That's my cell. Anyway, does anyone have any closing remarks? And then we can end it after that.
Just thanks for having me on. I really had a good time actually. It was a really fun conversation. And you know, I wasn't really sure what I was going to say. To be honest, I was like, okay, how am I going to approach this? But you know what? I think it turned out pretty well, and we got some really, really good discussion here. So yeah, massive shout out. Thanks so much, Guild MM, for getting this sorted out. And of course, anytime, always welcome to hit me up, and I'll come and roast the game a little bit if you want. No problem.
I appreciate you. Thank you. What about you, Buck?
Pretty much the same. Thanks for the invite. I'm honored to be here. I was a little starstruck in here with all of these Big Guild Wars 2 celebrities and got the vapors a little bit, but had fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for coming by and then taking the time for this. I know Teapot was actually a little confused startly at the start. He said he thought it was supposed to be a stream.
Well, his microphone was attacking him at the time, so give him a break.
Yeah,
next time, next time, maybe I should consider a actual stream podcast. But the reason why I wanted to do a recording was more or less because of this was the first podcast that I worked on rather than being a guest on. So like, kind of wanted to get the recording part set up, and then maybe in the future, hey, who knows? Maybe stream podcast. We'll see. We don't know, but soon TM maybe.
I think it's a fun dynamic, right? It's a fun dynamic to have the chat going there, reacting to whatever we're saying. Putting their incredibly intelligent thoughts into the chat. Various emotes, lul, omega lul, right? Kek W, right? Like this kind of insightful addition is what a podcast really needs.
I think so, yeah. Maybe consider for the next one. We'll see. Maybe we can do this once a month. Hey, I don't know. We'll see if there's enough conversation to talk about things like that.
All
right.
A tough one in Guild Wars.
Have your people call our people.
Yeah, exactly. Red, make sure they get the invitation.
Oh, Red, you're his people. Congratulations, you've been demoted.
Well, I mean,
from officer.
Officer. I mean, anyway. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yes, stream next time. We'll try and have one on Twitch. It's been Teapot, Mukluk, Red, MM, and yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Love you guys.
See you.
Thanks for watching.